So when it comes to texturing, it is like the most important part is gathering reference. A good research work can save you a lot of time and effort and make your life easier. So for now, this is how my texturing reference board looks like. This is the color version that I'm going to create, this khaki-like texture, color, and the black slide. So as you can see, the references are quite different than from the modeling. There are different sources for this. Mainly you can just Google those images with your required gun, but the best place to have good reference are gun auctions, because you can have high resolution pictures from there and the guns will be used. So there are a lot of markings and different interesting things that you can spot and remember to recreate. So these I've saved those 3 auctions. It's like gun auction, Morphe auctions, and Rock Island auctions. These guys are really useful. You can find a lot of cool photos out there. So as I'm doing pretty modern gun, it's really hard to find the old and used versions of this handgun. So it's okay to find other types of handguns just similar, like for example Glock. It's same polymer frame and metal slide, though the details can be interesting on both versions of guns. So as you can see here, I have Glock, HK, and different types of guns. So the pictures for texturing are really important to spot some unique like markings and like things that indicate that the gun was in use. I found this really awesome set of pictures of Springfield XD, not compact as I did, but just an XD, and it's really good. So you can see a ton of different details and interesting markings, and the photos are pretty high resolution, and you can see any kind of detail here. And this is a really good set of pictures. Also, I found the same source, this HK, no, it's Smith & Wesson, yeah. Smith & Wesson handgun, also really not bad, interesting details you can see here. Also, I have my own photos that I took while being in the shooting range. So as you can see, a couple guns here. This is really good example, a Gen 1 or 2, I'm not sure, Glock, which is quite old. And here are some pictures. This is really good. So what to look at those references? When I gather all of these pictures, I try to spot something that I really like and I want to recreate. So the process of texturing goes, I create a base material which is quite even on all the surfaces without too much of unique information, and then I go into details. So I have this section right here, and you can see that I've highlighted with red those areas that I like and I would like to recreate. And the bigger picture is the greater the reference and more I should be like gravitating towards this reference. So this is the general look of the slide I want to do, and this is the top look. a ton of different information you can gather here, like this dirt right there, those scratches. This one tells you the general story, like you can see those black marks over there. So it's really important to observe your reference, to spot those tiny things that make difference, and being able to recreate them creates the whole nice picture of your weapon. And so it's really important to do those unique stuff, and those things, they are what makes the difference on your asset and creates a unique story. So I highly recommend not to use someone's artwork as a reference, because you will not get unique results. Doing everything from real life photo references, for me, it's much more interesting and rewarding, because you can get something really unique and it's going to look fresh and interesting. So like when you use someone's work as a reference, you try to recreate someone's work, while here you have real life reference and you can do much better with that. So as you can see, I highlighted pretty much every area and every detail that I like, and I should pay a lot of attention to those places. So this, in general, this thing makes life pretty much easier. This is the plastic reference. This one is really good. You can see those light marks. It's okay that we have black polymer reference while aiming towards the green. That's fine. It can be replaced, no problem. So this area looks nice. This, you can see those like oil marks. That's really cool. As well, this one. I have also a couple reference for fiber optic sites and magazine. This one's really good. So this is the reference. Also, I have this 9mm cartridge reference. This is the main board for references, and I will try as much as possible to use those 100%. Okay. So another tip for doing textures is to always check those textures not only in Substance. So what I also like to do is to always double check my textures not only in Substance but in the engine or in Marmoset, how the textures are looking. So for these purposes, let's go back into Maya and duplicate this guy and form it in a lock open position right there, like so. Rotate the barrel just a bit, like so. Okay, now let's export this guy's clean exp. Let's call it final. Let's create a scene in Marmoset. So for skylight, I like to use either smashed windows or abandoned. But okay, this is a custom skylight. Okay, let's use the one by default that we can have is smashed windows. So now import your model, final. Here we go. We have material. And let's select this guy here, duplicate it, turn higher and rotate it. .180 degrees, so that there would be no need to rotate your camera. like so, and also Control D on the magazine right there, and this one as well. Now we have both sides of the mag. Okay, great. So couple steps before that, also field of view, I like to go 20 degrees or 67 millimeters, make it more orthographic. Also, let's turn the background color. First of all, select color and turn it pretty dark. I like it quite dark. Now let's adjust the material. Normal map, let's go into maps. Select the normal, gloss, albedo for diffuse, and specular. Somehow albedo by default is this gray. Go to the white. Okay. You can see the skylight is really dark. That's good because I like to see the result based on the sources of light. So let's add a light here, turn it to Omni like this, bring it a bit closer, turn on the brightness just a bit more, Control F on any mesh to rotate the camera around it. Okay, so duplicate it, send to the opposite side. Same for the back, the front, for top, and for bottom. Now this is the way I tend to look at the models. Also, let's go into render, enable GI, and shadow resolution to the maximum. Okay, and what I also like to do is just drop my sources of light to sky like this, so that whenever I shift drag the environment, same happens with the sources of light, so that I could change the light sources and see how it looks. Okay. Okay. So now let's go into Substance, turn off decals, create a layer, blank one. Now we have white color, let's export it, Control Shift E, export, and this should be updated in Marmoset. Boom, yeah, we have all white color. Okay, so another thing that I want to do is to create a width for the sources of light so that the shadows were softer. Let's go with 6. No, it's 6. Like so. Here it is. Yep. Okay, this is now too bright, obviously, but when we apply some materials, it will be not that bright. Okay, let's save the scene. Let's call it XD view. All right, this is nice preview scene. And now let's go back into Substance and start doing stuff. So first of all, I would like to separate my materials. So let's create a folder and call it plastic. Let's drop a random material into it, change to something bright like this green color, like this, and drop the black mask. And let's start applying the plastic. So double check on your reference, what is plastic, what is not. So basically we have only these two guys, plastic and this one, though they are a different color. And I guess, I'm not sure. This thing, no, I think it's metal. Yeah. So yeah, we have only this, this, and this. These three guys are plastic. So this one and this. It's okay that we covered that thing. It will be changed later. So now we have plastic. Let's now I want to separate the slide from everything else. Slide, I guess slide and barrel. And barrel, they will share the same material. Let's drop this. It'll be reddish color. Okay. So what I want to check is this back area. Well, I guess it's same metal, but I think I will use another material for it. Okay, yeah, let's rename it as metal and select basically all the metal parts. We'll do more separation inside of that folder. So let's go for all of these guys. Okay. And this one. All right. Now, also I want this guy. So in order to do that, add color selection, pick color, and use this thing here. Now it's metal. Okay, so we're adding on top of this manual selection the color. Okay, so a third material is going to be for the round. Add the black mask and select this guy. Create a fill layer. Let's call it case. Let's leave. Let's make the basic material for the metal. So diffuse goes to black, and the specular goes to that kind of yellowish color. To represent the case. And let's just duplicate this material and call it bullet, like so, and change the specular to something like this, and add a black mask, and add color selection, pick color, like so. Yep, this is quite basic color. We will be adding more to, like, on top of that. And one last thing left here is this fiber optic bright red stuff, front sight. So let's call this material fiber. Drop it here, add black mask, select this guy, and let's figure something out with the fiber optic material. Just basically it's bright red, so let's do with the diffuse like this, and for now just let's leave it like this. Okay, done. Okay, so let's do some more material separation. Let's go back into plastic, and let's do some basic colors. So turn off normal height. Let's call this one base color 1, and let's do the color. So what I just do is hold this and drag onto reference to get the proper color. I want to make it a bit greenish, somewhere there, and a bit more desaturated, like so. Okay, now let's hold on a second. Let's go back into export options, right, 16-bit. This should be 16. Okay, you can see those artifacts right there. This is because your normal map is 8-bit, and same story is in Marmoset. Come on. You can see that. In order to fix that, you need to have your normal map in 16-bit. So basically I need to re-export the normal map, and okay, so I guess I'll do it just a bit later. Let's finish this material adjustment. So duplicate base color 2. Let's add the black mask and select only this guy. I want this guy to be slightly different color. You can click C to browse through your channels. Now you can see this is just a bit different color. I tend to do that a lot. It gives more interest to your asset. Okay, let's duplicate the layer. Base color 3, and black mask, and let's just click on this guy over here. This one's going to be black. like so. Okay. So now let's go into metal and adjust the metal part. So let's go with diffuse on to the black, as we're doing PBR material here. And specular, just a bit different and not that glossy. Right there, the specular can be a bit darker. Like so. And a bit glossier. Yep, like this. And also the plastic. So since this guy's only doing the color, so you can turn off gloss and spec on these, and do the gloss and spec only on the first one. So turn off the glossiness much more. Now you're basically unable to see those artifacts because of the normal map, because the texture is now not that glossy. You can still see it here, but when you add more details it'll be fine. Okay, so right there. Oh right, I forgot about the mag. So the magazine, go into metal. This is our basic material. Let's call it background. We can call it base, whatever. Now let's do some separation. Let's have this folder for the mag. Drop a new layer onto it. Add the black mask and select only this guy here. Now this is a chrome-like material, so diffuse to total black, specular much brighter. Turn off normal and height. And the gloss is pretty glossy. Let's keep it like so, or even more. Yeah, you can see those artifacts right there. Okay, this is mag. Now let's go to slide. Same thing here. Select your slide. Turn diffuse to black. Actually do slide and barrel. Like so. And I think I want to do slide and barrel and rare sight. Rare sight. So it's just a mask. Like so. I tend to do the main metal material for biggest parts. The small details are going to be on different folder. So basically all the rest is small metal parts. So let's create a new folder, call it small parts. Yep. Turn everything off, diffuse to black. Okay, so now we have our material definition, everything somewhere there, how it's need to be done. Let's save it and drop it to Marmoset and see how it's gonna work. Control-Shift-E, turn to 16-bit. It won't do much of difference now, but just store this information right there. Okay, go back to Marmoset. Great. Now we have our materials. Yeah, the shadows look really weird. So in order to fix that, I just sent this thing into groups. I mean, like, I grouped them in a folder as well as sources of light. And no, sky goes there as well, and just scale this thing to say 3. Okay. Now the shadows should look better. Somehow they don't. All right, that's because, yeah, that's because I had this speedy viewport mode, which turns off every special effect. Okay, let's go back and set everything to 1. And see how the shadows work. Well, not the best, but it's okay. Okay, let's keep it this way. So you see those artifacts right there. Let's quickly fix that. Let's go into Photoshop, turn off this guy, see if we are in 16-bit mode. Yeah. Now let's replace this map. Go into, right, bakes, XD normals, yes. Give it some time to save. It's a 4K map. It has to take some time to save. Come on. Okay, we're done. Now let's go back into Substance, go into Textures, and reload, and send this guy back here. And see that everything is now clean, right? So let's go back here and turn on the decals. Yep. And re-export, but in 16-bit mode. And Substance crashed. That's okay. that can happen. Let's run it again. It's a common thing to crash at this point because it takes the most of your random access memory. So let's see if we saved or not. Yep. I did the save. Small part, okay. So let's just replace the normal map. Let's move the shelf back down here. Come on. Yep. Textures. Reload. Send it back here. Yep, 16-bit looks good. Right now, I guess I would close Maya so that it won't take more memory. And I will close one of those PureRef files. Close this one. And that's it, okay. Now let's save the scene again. Turn on decals. And let's re-export it. Yep, it worked. Let's open the XD normals. No, it's in the maps. Right there. Oh no. I guess it saved the wrong normal map format. Yes. Oh, come on. OpenGL. Select again PPR spec gloss. 16-bit PNG export. Okay. No, not you. Yep. Now it's good. Drop it here. Delete the previous one. Now let's replace it. PNG. Yep. Give it some time to save. And I wonder if the curvature changed. No, it did not. Okay, actually we can go with this with decals turned on because the curvature map is already baked. So it's okay to go like this. And the marmoset should be looking nice now. Yep, see this looks good. Yeah. The light is too wide. Okay. So let's go back into Substance and start building up the base texture material. So I guess this is too greenish. Let's go a bit more into yellow. Same with this guy. Like so. Yep. And let's make it a bit darker. Same as this one. Yep. All right. So now let's add some grainy pattern. So for this purpose, I like to use preset material, which is plastic. Type in plastic, and we have this grainy plastic. Just drag it here. And now let's scale it up. Always double check your reference. Yeah, this looks pretty similar. So now I want to cut off those areas that are not grainy. So in order to do that, let's add a black mask, add a fill, and also turn off gloss, back and diffuse for now. And let's drop our masks that we have. Textures. So first of all, this one, you can see it right there. Let's add an invert filter. Invert right there. So now basically every fill you add, it will just cut off. And let's add another fill with this. Yep. And let's set it to multiply. No overlay. Pass through. Come on. Turn off the invert. Normal. Normal. Multiply. Replace. No. Come on. Screen. Right. Screen is the one I'm looking for. Yep. Okay. Let's add another fill. Same screen. And for these guys. Yep. For this part over there. And for this part over here. Okay. Okay. Let's just play a bit with the sliders of this material. Yeah, normal intensity. Okay. So now let's create some specular variation. No, I meant gloss. Glossiness. Okay, this material is quite limited. Okay, so let's keep it like this for now. Just try different scale. Like so. All right. So it looks quite noisy right here. So let's check how does it gonna look like in Marmoset. Let's drop it. Okay. All right. No, it's quite good. What is this? And what is this? Okay, this is like this error from Marmoset that happens once in a while. I know the way. How can it be fixed? Okay, make sure you don't have this thing on Substance. No, it looks good in Substance. So somehow Marmoset does not like when the UV shells are matching each other. So to fix this thing, you just drop one tile left, one of those reused UV shells. So I'll do it just a bit later, but for now I'm just checking the grainy texture. How does it look like? Yeah, I guess it looks fine. And the color is pretty nice as well. So let's go on. So let's call it grain. Now let's continue building up our main material. And let's call this one color variation. This is basically I do all the time. No, not this. Color. Turn it to overlay. Go a bit darker, like this. Add the black mask and add a fill. Now let's go into procedurals and select noisy spots like this right there, but just scale it like so. Let's go into diffuse map and play with the color because that's too much. Let's do it like so. Turn on and off your layer to see the result. Yeah, this looks good. You don't see that much difference on the dark, but there still is. Now this quite subtle, but still visible. This thing creates the difference. Now let's try to do the same with the gloss. And I'm not sure it's gonna work properly. No, yeah, it's too glossy. Okay, duplicate it and call it gloss variation. And right, maybe it can work. Just go into your glossiness channel and set this one to overlay. Now turn on the glossiness and just play with this. Maybe just darker. Turn on and off gloss parameter to see the difference. No, I don't see it. Okay, so this mask is not the best for glossiness. Let's do another one. Gloss variation. Turn everything off except the gloss. Turn to overlay and let's find a better mask. It should be small grain. I have a noise mask, like a flat noise, but that's too small, I guess. Okay, let's use white noise. Drop it there. Obviously that is too much. Right, I forgot you need to go to actually add a black mask, fill, and white noise into fill. Yeah, now. And let's play with the scale. Let's add some levels and give it more contrast. Let's try both high and low value for the gloss. Turn on and off your map to see the result. Let's scale it up just a bit. Oh, come on, like here. 6. Yeah, that's better. Now duplicate it and gloss variation 2. This one going to be bright one. And just change the rotation so that those two masks are not matching up, and turn up not that bright gloss. Okay, so this is our gloss map. It does look interesting now. Let's turn off the grain and see how it looks without a grain. You can see that's too much. Let's add it just a bit. Now turn on the grain. Always double check on your reference. Okay, so right now I'm going to do something more to this reference. So for now this looks fine. What I want to do now is just a slight edge lightening, because it looks too uniform right now. Slight edges, add black mask, add generator, and I usually use, okay, yeah, for these purposes, let's use generic mask editor. Okay. This is already looking interesting enough. This is like a big general color variation. Can play with the strength of the curvature. Curvature opacity, right. So I'm not going to use this layer for bright edge wear or something like that. This is going to be really slight color variation. So turn off the sharp details. Let's add a manual paint layer and just mask out those transitions between UV shells. Same thing here. Use a soft brush. Okay. Now let's go and turn off everything here except diffuse, and turn diffuse into overlay. Let's go back into the diffuse channel and bring it up slightly, just a little bit. Okay. It does make a difference, just a slight one, but it is kind of creates the whole, like, the picture. So now let's add some slight dust. I mean, like, these are general things that I like to do, no matter what material is. These are things that I apply mostly to all materials. So let's set up the color for the dust, turn off the glossiness, guess make it a bit brownish like this. Don't touch the specular. So in order to maintain the PBR rules, anything that is plastic, the whole action goes into diffuse and glossiness, and specular is just this generic color, while we have the metal color, and all of the action goes onto specular and glossiness. Diffuse is just black. This is like a general rule, and that depends on the final finish of the metal. There are different types of finishes, but for this one I think I would go with completely black diffuse. So let's go back to this dust material, add generator, and let's go with dirt, like so. That's too much, dirt level. Let's go back into diffuse and see what it does. Make it slight. I don't want to make this thing stand out too much. Just a bit. Right there. You can see it when I turn on and off. Just creates a good general like view and general perception of this material. Doing really slight differences. Also, I noticed that this part over there is quite glossy. It's much glossier than this material according to the reference. So let's do that. Go back to base colors and create a new material here and call it Groove Gloss. Turn off everything except glossiness. And I think I will put it over gloss variations. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I'll do it like this. So add a black mask, add a fill, and let's use the mask that I have. Come on, where is it? Textures, right. And let's use this one, right. And boom, we have this part much glossier. And I don't want to lose those tiny details completely. So in order to do that, just go into glossiness channel and like turn off it just a bit. So it's still glossier, but we still have those details there. Like so. Yeah, now it looks much more interesting. And I think I also would like to go with these guys as well. So let's go and do another fill and turn it to screen. Use this guy. Boom, like this. Yep. Let's do 80%. Yeah. Yeah, this looks good. This looks much nicer.